Hey everybody, so I am going to do a video that I just tried to shoot in the woods on one of my rambles in the wood, but I kept tripping over logs, so it wasn't very conducive to doing a video. Originally I was going to do a shoot down at the table to show the moon card, the death card and the moon card, but I just thought I would ramble because if you're watching this you probably have seen the death card and the moon card. So we see in the distance of the death card the towers of the moon card. So over that hill, so if you walk over that hill, you're actually going to get to the moon card. Now, one of the ways I see the moon card, in addition to developing intuition and whatnot, is it's a second death. So the first death is often sort of externally imposed transformation, sort of like walking through something that you are experiencing on the outside externally, which changes you. But if you look in the distance, the sun is rising. I see it as the sun is rising. And then you walk through the cards to get to the moon card. And by the time you get to the moon card, the sun is set to the west. And an aside is that death is walking north if we see it that way. And in Norse mythology, the underworld, hell, is actually described somewhere, I can't remember which text, as to the north. But anyway, that's for another video. But so I was thinking about this in relation to Interview with a Vampire. I know it's not the right season for this. I probably should do this in October. But in Interview with a Vampire, it's about Louis, and Louis goes through his first death. He walks through the death card by losing his wife and his son. And he's completely distraught, destroyed by it, of course. And then after that, he goes through his second death. He enters the moon card by becoming a vampire. So he, under the moonlight, so the sun sets to the west, and in the light of the moon, he develops his vampire eyes, what they call the vampire eyes. And so he sees himself in the world in a completely new way. He sees his beauty, his strength, the magic of the world, and yet he also is seeing his dark aspects. He's confronted with his animalistic nature. And whereas Lestat has completely integrated those two sides to himself, Louis has not. He's still trying to pass through the moon card. Now, the moon card is often associated with doing shadow work, and I agree with that. I think facing our demons, facing the way that we sort of are pressed down and oppressed and altered by society's expectations or our past experiences. But I think some people stop there. They face their demons, they see what they don't like about themselves, and they're staring in that mirror, but they don't think to pick up a different mirror, I guess. Pick up the true mirror, which holds that integrated self. They stop with the shit, and then they don't travel on to see their greatness. And I think of the quote that's on the Temple of Apollo in Delphi that says, "Know thyself." Now, the quote on that temple is about knowing your limitations. You are not the gods, and you need to get that straight. But I think the moon card is actually about integrating both seeing your limitations and the experiences that you've gone through and the things that you've done that you're not proud of, and seeing your brightness, that you are like Apollo, you are a god of the sun, and you have the divine within you. You're not becoming divine. You have a part of the divine within you already, you just don't see it. Now, I have a hard time seeing myself. I just was talking to Gerald from the Hermit Mage today about how it's really difficult for me to really see myself. I need to have other people sort of say, oh, no, you do this. And yeah, I've seen you do this. And I like this about you. And I'm like, I didn't know any of this about me. And I think a lot of people actually struggle with that, even if they don't know. Um, and I think some people don't know themselves for a number of reasons. I think some people don't know themselves because they're stuck in the dark, and some people don't know themselves because they don't realize they're in the dark and they're just all light and love and fluffy and crystals. And I don't know anyone like that. I mean, I've met people like that where it's just, oh, the world is so lovely. It's so bright and cheery, and let's just hug our crystals, And um, I'm not saying that you need to be like that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that people who struggle with low self esteem are actually not truly seeing themselves. They have not done both sides of the moon card. They have opened their eyes, in some ways. Maybe they're doing the shadow work, or maybe doing it ineffectively, the shadow work. And they don't see their beauty. And I think that's part of the moon card. You pass through a second death. You die to your old self and you awake to your new self. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to um, die to that old self that is so limited by our self-hatred, low self-esteem, the slings and arrows that were thrown at us before by family or peers, and the traumas of the past. We're discolored by that. We're wearing not rose-colored glasses, we're wearing shit-colored glasses, and we're not willing to see ourselves and walk through that second death. You know, um, we sort of stop at the waters and don't dive in. Um, so yeah, that's all I have today. This is about knowing your truth, and your truth can be beautiful. And you are your truth, and you can be beautiful, and you are beautiful, I should say. And I think we all need to remember that. I think a lot of us need to be reminded. I need to be reminded of that. It's really hard for me to say those words. It's really hard for me to see it. Um, and so I'm saying be gentle with yourself. You know, let yourself walk through that second death. I haven't done it yet. We can all do it, and we can do that. I'm rambling now. But let's walk through that second death of not seeing our greatness, not seeing us for not just the dark parts of ourselves, but also the light. So yeah, know your truth, and if you don't have one, make one. Bye.